Tottenham dumped out of the FA Cup by Middlesbrough. A 1-0 victory after extra time. But let's have it fair. Middlesbrough were the best team. Middlesbrough were the most dominant team. Middlesbrough absolutely deserve to be through to the next round. Spurs dumped out in the 5th round of the FA Cup, 3 years on the bounce. Another year with no silverware for Tottenham Hotspur. Another desperate night for Antonio Conte. Another poor night for Tottenham in their quest to reach greatness. Another season with Harry Kane going out of a cup competition and winning no trophies. But the beauty, the magic, the wonder of the most amazing, most historic cup competition in the world continues. This is why you always tune into these games, because the shocks are nothing other than beautiful. Smash that like button, hit that share button. Here we go. Tottenham Hotspur dumped out by Middlesbrough. It's Man United they've dumped out, followed by Tottenham. What a run. What an FA Cup season they are having. Absolutely phenomenal from them. Young Josh Colburn, teenager, I believe, set up by Matt Crooks in the 107th minute of the game, puts the game to bed, gives Middlesbrough an absolutely one of their best nights for many, 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 many years. And it was absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent from Borough tonight. They grew into the game from the off. They were the most dominant side. 53% of the ball, 54% of the ball. Both teams over the course of the game had about 8 attempts each. But Borough, the championship team, absolutely bossed Tottenham Hotspur. Absolutely bossed them tonight. Thoroughly deserved to go through. Created the best volume of chances as well. Yes, Son should have scored. Harry Kane had an offside goal ruled out. It looks onside to me, the back leg, but no VAR at all. But in extra time especially, Middlesbrough turned up. As soon as Spurs went to a back four, the fullbacks of Royale and Davis were absolutely exposed beyond belief by the Borough sort of fullbacks tonight. Taylor down the left-hand side. Of course, Tavernier was brilliant as well, although he kind of looked more central. He kind of drifted out into those wing spaces as well. Jones on the right-hand side and Howson in the middle. What a domineering performance from the midfielder. Of course, in the twilight of his career. Sensational tonight by Middlesbrough. Thoroughly deserved in every single which way. I'm intrigued to know what Antonio Conte is going to say now. I'm intrigued to know what's going to be on his mind after another disastrous night in the office for Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs are like, what's it say here? Spurs are like that microwave that turns on but doesn't heat your food, is what LeSean has got to say. And listen, I can understand that. I can understand that notion from Spurs fans especially. You know, what do they have to do? Harry Winks today with one of the worst midfield performances I have ever seen in my life. Legitimately was. And you know what's crazy? This is where statistics are so weird. High 80%. High 80s in terms of his pass completion rate. Højbjerg the same, 96%. But there's one thing Lee Dixon said during the game, which I agree with. And this is where football fans have got to learn about balance. There's nobody in that Spurs midfield that takes risks with their passes. Yes, you get into a situation and a moment where you're not losing the ball retention is good, but there is zero risk-taking happening. Nobody takes risks when it comes to cutting balls. And I'm not talking about the front players into the strikers or Harry Kane into one of the inside forwards as they're making runs. I'm talking about progressing that ball. Forget who the player is, whether it's your defenders that are advancing with it or your midfielders, it doesn't really matter. It's about who's got the ball in certain areas. They're never trying to progress the ball. They're always taking the easy options, Tottenham, and it's very weak indeed. Terry, mate, can I call in? Tonight is the night I need to praise former Doncaster keeper Lumley and expose Conte's Spurs. There's no holding back. I'll be sharing the link momentarily for everybody to come on and to have their say. But as you've already alluded to, my friend, it's a very, very poor night. A very, very poor night for Tottenham as well, no doubt. A lot of people saying Conte sacked. I very much doubt Conte is going to be sacked. I could see him walk in, not tonight, but we'll see. Tyrone here says, I've had enough, Terry. Spineless same players. lost at Zagreb, Colchester, and this same players, different manager. I was 3. These players are useless. A lot of them are. A lot of your players are proving it. And I still think I don't know whether it's a lack of quality. I don't know if it's a lack of belief. I don't know whether it's a mentality issue, a combination of all 3. I just look at the Spurs team and you weren't able to up your level like Borough were. And we see this from Tottenham all the time when expectations exist. If you were playing away tonight, I'm going to throw a different team out there. If you were away tonight at Villa, away at Brighton, maybe at home to Man United, I think you get a performance under Conte. It's as soon as you must win. This is a shoo-in. This is a simple win for Tottenham. The old April goes. The old pooper loop comes out every single time with this team. It really does. And do you know how I recognize it even more now? Because my club does it. My club is just as bad. Kane is a fraud, doesn't turn up when he's really needed. Countless bad games when needed. Hate Lukaku all you like, but at least he came clutch in the Club World Cup. Look, Harry Kane scored I wouldn't put them tonight down to prove that Harry Kane hasn't had a good career or he isn't clutch. I think Harry Kane in finals and semi-finals has left a lot to be desired, but he's done enough in games like this in the past, there's no doubt. But where was the service into him tonight? He is still, yes, he can be creative himself, but where is the service? Where are those gilt-edged chances being created? Only one tonight I can really remember for Spurs, unless I'm missing one. I might be missing one. Was Son. Should have scored with that point-blank header. If Harry Kane doesn't win a trophy when his career ends, he is a failure at the elite level, is what Miguel says. Look, I agree to an extent. We know what a great striker he is. You have to win trophies. I'm never going to yield on my belief that you have to win trophies because you do. This team is so inconsistent. That is it. That is it starting to disgust me seriously. I'm so tired of it, is what Jerome has got to say. We've got Ryan Madden. We've got Alan Clark. We've got man like Tom Little to come on with us very, very soon. They are backstage. I need you smashing that like button for the Terrace, though, right now. Get that done. Also, a big shout out to anyone that's downloaded our most recent podcast. The links for that are currently in our live comment section or in the description below. Go and get them downloaded and looked at. Sack Levy. Listen, it's impossible to sack him. Again, Spurs fans haven't got the cojones to do what's needed to make your owners change. Remember, pound shop Ed Sheeran and 4 people at a protest. It ain't going to happen, with respect. By the way, nor do my club have the cojones. My fellow Man United fans don't have what it takes to get rid of the Glazers either, or make them change at the very least. So, drop it. Terry, I remember you saying Spurs are going to be a force under Conte when he joined. If Mourinho want expressions, call him Trophy Mourinho, can't save them. What made you think Conte would? Well, I didn't say he would be good in the cup competitions or Europe because that's fair. I thought they'd be better in the league. I thought they'd be more galvanized in the league. I've actually been shocked that they've still been, in my eyes, bottlers in important, pivotal games that they're expected to win under Antonio Conte. I thought even in a short space of time, he would improve that. That's just an L that I've got to take and something I predicted that I got wrong. And I'm sure, Mohamed Udin, you've had many things that you've got wrong in your life as well, my friend. And that's one of them for me. Big L for me. Middlesbrough knocked Man United and Tottenham Hotspur out, and Tottenham Hotspur were robbed. And I'm happy with the 2-0 win against Peterborough. Listen, City were cool with their 2. Listen, they had to win 2-0 tonight, didn't they? Borough did very, very well. A very poor championship team, if you compare them to many others. Probably going to go down. They're like a really good League One team, Peterborough. City did very, very well tonight. I'm very disappointed as well that they put the games on all on the same night without spreading them out. Very frustrating for me that they did that again. Very disrespectful to the biggest, most and great, not the biggest anymore, but the most beautiful and romantic cup competition in the world. And I tell you what's the why it for me it is. And I've already got people going, oh no, this cup's better, this cup's better. Listen, the only reason other national cups exist is because of this cup. It's like, if you think about like music, you can always get a new singer. Like you get like people. I remember listening to some young friends of mine telling me that the likes of Usher and Chris Brown were better than Michael Jackson. I'm like, you can't be better than the pioneer that invented that kind of like pop with dance move kind of thing. Like I don't know what you call it, but like you can't be better than that because that's the pioneer. You know what I mean? You can't be better than the FA Cup as a national cup competition because it's the pioneer. It's how it all works. But there's this picture. And that's not disrespectful anywhere else. You ask people, the FA Cup is famous everywhere you go. And tonight, but this is what I loved about it. Look at this bad boy. Look at this bad boy. Look at that face. That is the FA Cup. They don't expect to be winning tonight. That face there is the epitome of the FA Cup for me. It's absolutely beautiful and brilliant to see. Strip Bear says, name the mods give boss. It's weird. I don't know what that means, Strip Bear. Thank you. I thank you. Was this someone says it? Terry Mudded. Listen, I'll tell you what's mudded. I'll tell you the most weakest thing in the world, a man that can't admit when he's got something wrong. Again, if my daughter ever brings home a man that can't admit when he gets something wrong, I'm breaking him up. That is a weak man, not a strong one. Never. Don't have friends that do that. If you've got brothers or fathers or cousins that do that, ostracize them and remove yourselves from them immediately. Very dangerous, disingenuous, snaky people. If they can't admit they're wrong, get away from them now, my brother. Very bad people. Chelsea CFC fan, by the way. Love the show. Big up to yourself. Love from Toronto. Thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate the super chat and I appreciate the love all the way from Toronto. African Giant says, lol, I wanted Spursy to win because I wanted us Chelsea to meet them in the quarterfinal. I'm more scared of Borough than Spursy. Embarrassing is what he said there. And look, I think most Spurs fans would agree it's embarrassing. We're going to share the link now for you to phone in and for you to have your say. That's going to go into the live chat right about now. I'm also going to pin that in if you want to call in. I'm sure there's lots of Spurs fans that want to have their say tonight that are probably fuming going out of this tournament the way they did. CK Smart says, feeling for Conte is the phrase an eye for goal. The secret phrase isn't an eye for goal, but the secret phrase is still available in the golden envelope behind me if you want to give it a guess. We have actually had someone contact the terrace today, guessed it a few months ago. I'm going back for it. I'm down to like the last 2 weeks of December now. I've got to go back and check them. Somebody might have already got it right and we may have missed it. We're just checking, but it's a very long and laborious process finding it. And I was actually messaging YouTube and I'm like, can you just take this person's username and just check what super chats have sent in and see if they said these words? And YouTube are like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, how much easier would it have been? But yeah, I'm searching it manually. But there we go. So we may have somebody that's got it right. We may not have done. And if two people get it right, if I find out he got it right and you guess it right tonight, then I'm going to have to buy 2 PlayStations. It's as simple as that. Like, Terry, congratulations on your newly refurbished forehead. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's getting there. It's gone really thin again now, which is meant to do at this stage, and then it'll thicken out over time. And then I will look young and beautiful and gorgeous again. Yes. Can't wait. Here we go. Chelsea are getting knocked out tomorrow by Luton. Oh, come on. Listen, there's banter and then there's just lunacy. There's lunacy. It's a lunacy thing to say. Terry, you're too harsh on people. Not everybody that can admit they're wrong is a bad person. I think they are. I think they're the deviants. Like, also, I'll tell you another group of people to avoid. The overly virtuous and righteous. The ones that like fight every battle and are like holier than thou. They've got something hidden there. Something's buried in their garden. Maybe literally or metaphorically. They've got something hidden, these people. They've done something real bad. Trust me. Don't trust them. Don't go near them. Don't go near them. They're terrible people. Also, if you meet someone to be your partner, and they are the life and soul of the party, everyone loves them, be cautious. In my experience, there's some darkness there. That's why they're the life and soul. Trust me. Trust me. As you guys get older, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. Trust. Terry, I sent you a message about FFP on Twitter. Top man. Thank you. I'll read it later. Right. I'm going to bring some of the panel out now. Ryan's here. Tom's here. Alan's here with me. I'm going to throw Orchie into this as well, and we will take your calls. I know Mohammed and Tom, Aaron are all backstage. We'll take your calls, but smash that big, fat, juicy like button. Tottenham are out. I shouldn't laugh. My team's out. But it is funny because my dad's been giving me shit all day. How does it feel, Dad? How does it feel? You bald prat. Welcome back to the terrace, everyone. How you all doing?
Not good.
Great. Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving all these championships. Out.
We invited Tom. God damn it.
Has to get involved. Honestly,
I just can't believe it.
I wonder who's next. We had Nottingham Forest knock out Arsenal. Middlesbrough have got 2 now. Who Forest got next? Because they've got to make it 2-2. I just can't believe it. Weren't even the fact that he's got knocked out, because I expected that in a sense when it went to extra time. It's just the history of the Tottenham. It's the fact that when you look back at it, you were dominated for large amounts of that game by a championship side. This is a team that not that long ago was in a Champions League final. Had aspirations of being a challenger for years to come with the stadium. Great young squad. And now, is it rebuild time? Is it time to just cut your losses with this squad as is and just go again, try it completely differently? Because what you've got now is a squad that is stuck between 2 different eras, I think. You've got a squad that's still reeling about that Champions League loss from a long time ago now, and a new age of players that are just getting dragged into that mentality.
Like the rebuild was meant to happen like straight after Poch left, and then obviously it's not happened there. We've got a team put together from 5 different managers. It's shocking from front to back. I've had enough.
Can I ask a question, gents? First of all, first question to the Spurs fans here. I want to put a picture up to bring us to life. This is with about 15 minutes to go. Why are you being so negative and defensive against the championship team? And that isn't a salty question. It's a legitimate question. Why do you think Antonio Conte is playing like this?
I don't know. It was negative from the start. I mean, we had the ball for about 15, 20 minutes of the first half, and then literally we sat back and tried to hit him on a counter. You're going into an FA Cup 5th round tie against a championship team, and you're playing counter-attacking football. Conte didn't look up for it. Kane didn't look up for it. Son's been shocking yet again. Kulusevski looks all right. Our midfield is the weakest midfield in the Premier League. It is absolutely embarrassing. Winks and Højbjerg can't do anything. We've never looked the same since Dembele and Eriksen went. And then you got a defence that can't play back 4 and get torn apart by... I am not taking anything away from Middlesbrough. Outplayed us from start to finish. They deserved it. It's just another shocking, embarrassing performance from Spurs. And I just want most of this team to go now. I really do. It needs a proper rebuild, proper investment to start again. And we'll have to take us a year or 2 to try and get back to where we want to be. But this season's dead. This team's dead. Let's move on.
Yeah, you got the likes of like Ben Davis and Winks and those kind of guys. They should have been gone several seasons ago. Like I absolutely hate Winks. I just can't stand that guy. And but the fact of the matter is also, I think the fact that it was really unfortunate that both Skip and Bentancur got injured and out of the team at the same time. I think probably if those guys were fit, Bentancur's number 1 and Skip's probably potentially maybe even Bentancur and Skippy playing together, because definitely when Winks goes in there, he also kind of stinks up all around them as well, because Højbjerg ends up playing. Like Højbjerg has been a bit up and down, but they're like when a couple of games ago when Bentancur and Højbjerg played together, I think it was against City actually, they did really well. But as soon as Winksy comes in, he just stinks up the whole midfield, the whole kind of defense. He just ruins it.
He's weak. He's like a kid in the midfield. He really is. He gets bullied too easily. He's got one mode of passing to put his foot through it. I won't forgive Daniel Levy. He's got many crimes, Daniel Levy, against his name for Spurs. But when Everton come in and said, here's 25 million, he went, no, we'll take 40, Daniel Levy. Nah, you absolute twat. Get out of this club. I can't stand him. Yeah. He will continue to do stuff like this to the detriment of the Spurs Football Club on the pitch when his eyes are focused off the pitch. And I just, I can't It frustrates me. But
Yeah.
and when you keep dead players like that in your team for 3 to 4 to 5 years, you're just going to continue going backwards.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think with Winks especially, just the most negative player. I'll give you an example. Bergwijn came on, and I thought nearly changed the game for you. I think when he came on, there was an injection of pace. The way he was positioned behind Harry Kane, he was able to exploit spaces in that team. His pass completion rate when he came on was 67% because he was trying. He was trying to open the team up. He was being progressive with his passing. Where you've got Winks and Højbjerg behind him, whose passing range between the high 80s and mid 90s, but they weren't breaking lines with their passing. It was almost like, and what I don't like about that type of play, there's a big debate going on at the minute in the Man United fan base. Should Bruno have squared the ball to Ronaldo? No. I want my players to take responsibility and take the shot when the shot's on. The same as I expect midfield players, when they've got opportunities to pass the ball and break a line, take responsibility and try that pass rather giving the ball to a teammate and expecting them to do it. Otherwise, you're a passenger. You're just a passenger in the team. And that's what I'm seeing from Winks. Like, Ryan, what's your take on Winks right now? Like, why is he still playing? And why wasn't he part of that contingent moved on in January?
Oh, I don't want to. I can't. There's not enough time in the world to talk about Harry Winks. He's the crab of football. He is the crab of professional football. It's not even backwards. He don't even go backwards anymore. It's just side to side. That's the only way. I mean, we've complained as Tottenham fans for so long about not replacing Christian Eriksen. We never replaced Moussa Dembele. He was just as important to Tottenham as Christian Eriksen was. And we've gone from Moussa Dembele to Harry Winks. I mean, I know Skip and Bentancur, when they're both back, they'll both jump in ahead of him a country mile. But you look at it and you think, how has this guy got England caps as well? Which Harry Winks got these England caps to now? He's been bossed by a 33-year-old Johnny Howson tonight, who had to go off in the end due to cramp and tiredness. He was absolutely bossed by a 33-year-old former Leeds player who I think they got rid of him as they entered the Premier League. It's just embarrassing. It's Tottenham. Terry, I said this to you after the Leeds game. We're a yo-yo club. We are one. It's one step forward, one step back. We smash Leeds 4-0, which that's fine. It's great. It's brilliant. But this game tonight, that's our season done. Nah, we're not getting top 4. Not a chance. I mean, I said when Conte come in, we'll get top 4, and I'm happy to admit now that there's absolutely no chance that we'll get top 4, and that's our only trophy gone for the season. So there's, I don't know anymore. I'm lost.
I genuinely only think Harry Winks is still there because he fills the homegrown quota, doesn't he? Like he came through the academy, so he fills that quota. He's just, oh my days, man! Like you've got better players than him.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly though an Enoch Levy issue though in its entirety. Yes, Winks isn't good enough. Yes, like more reinforced. You know, the fact you're still. I think Romero looks like there could be a player in there. I do. The fact you're still playing Dyer at the back is an atrocity. Yeah. But it's the most expensive season tickets in Europe. The money's coming in, and yet they still scrimp and scrape. The reason you don't have Luis Diaz and Adama Traore out on the pitch tonight is because if you would have just paid the asking prices on the 1st of Jan, essentially, rather than doing what Levy, he loves to leave it. I remember a journalist I know is very close to Tottenham said this to me. He loves to leave it to the last week because he likes to try and force the price down. Well, that worked out well because you just forced the price down for 2 other clubs. In fact, in the end, you had Traore go to Barca for 10 grand a week. Because you left it so long. Both those players would have joined. And I just look at it this way. If you're a Spurs fan and you're serious about winning and you're buying a season ticket, I'm questioning your loyalty to your football club.
Yeah, I'm
questioning your loyalty because you're feeding the monster. It makes no sense to me to give people money who are not spending it on the things you want to spend it on. It's crazy to me. It's like if it was any other kind of business. You know, if you went into a bakery, you guys are from London, Percy Ingles, right? You go into a Percy Ingles or a Greg, and you go, there's my £5. I'd like 2 sausage rolls and a cup of tea. If they give you 3 slices of carrot cake and a glass of water, are you just going to keep coming back every day and doing the same thing?
No.
So why do it with a football club? It's mental to me when you're treated like a customer. Treat them like a business and watch them change. It's so simple. But fans don't. I don't know why fans don't want to do it. It infuriates me.
Yeah, no. Like I said numerous times, I haven't put any of my own money into that club since they completely done that whole season without signing anyone, and then literally we went downhill from there. I haven't done anything since then. I refuse to, just for that reason. But unfortunately, you got fans that want to keep going, and I have no idea why. It's just an absolutely awfully run club. It really is from start to from top to bottom. That club, it really is.
That's where things went wrong, really, isn't it? That season and a half where we bought absolutely nobody. When we were at that point, where we were about to break through, and we could have been like always like challenging. If they'd invested like just maybe maybe three top quality players away from potentially being up there challenging for the title every single season and being in the Champions League and potentially challenging for cups every single season.
It's not just Adama and Luis Diaz that Terry was just on about. Ruben Diaz. We took our time over him. Man City came in, took Bruno Fernandes.
We got Gedson Fernandes.
We got Lo Celso. Yeah, we missed out on Bruno Fernandes because we went for Lo Celso.
Like the boys have said, Terry, we were 2 or 3 signings away. We ended up in that Champions League final with Moussa Sissoko in centre midfield. You upgrade these players. You go for trophies. You upgrade them season by season. You don't stick with these players.
Say one of the biggest things, and this is the crazy notion, you had that period where you guys didn't invest. And one of the biggest arguments between Daniel Levy and Mauricio Pochettino was because Poch wanted to install cameras that cost about 80 grand into the training ground so that he could have a bird's eye view of what players were essentially doing. And so he could watch things back. But because Amazon were filming, there was like a conflict of interest weird thing. And Levy denied it. Potts says, well, and then he said, there ain't the money for it either. And then Potts said, well, I'll pay out my own money. And they still said no to him. That was almost like one of the biggest kind of turning points where Potts is like, I'm trying to do everything to improve this team. And you're more concerned about not upsetting Amazon for the documentary and the money it's going to make us. That should resonate with every Spurs fan.
Terry, I'll go one better.
Go on, mate.
Just after COVID, the first game back, there was a letter to the fans, like in the programme, to come back. And he touted as an achievement getting European football 13 seasons out of 14. He touted that as a success. I wanted to see 13 trophies out of 14 seasons. That's what I want to see for my club. Not that we get into Europe 13 seasons out of 14. That's embarrassing to try and tout that as as a major achievement. You want to be saying, oh, we've got 13 trophies from 14 seasons, not stuff like that. And that's just embarrassing. That's why we will never, as long as they're in charge, we will never get to that time, to winning of trophies.
My man here says I'm a liar. Listen, there is this story, and it's in loads of different places. If you think I made this up, I own the TalkSport website, and I made them write this story. I made the Daily Mail write it, and I made Pochettino say it. You're absolutely right, my friend. I made Poch tell everybody that. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. I'll come to you in a minute, Tom. We've got a rival that wants to come and say hello right now.
Of course, a gal shows up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a gal.
It happened again. It happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. You know the rest. Anyways, they're back, baby. 14 years of just sitting back, doing nothing. We already know this. I told you guys at the beginning of the season when they had Nuno, they weren't going to do nothing. I told you when Antonio Conte came in, they weren't going to do anything. And why are you guys surprised? They're still not doing anything. They're going to finish the season not doing anything. They're just going to continue to be this club that sits in mediocrity. That's what they are. Tottenham Hotspur. They continue to lose when it matters the most. Chiellini said it himself. He said they have something. They always have the cutting edge and they go, but when it matters the most, they can't do it. This is the history of Tottenham. This is the history of Tottenham, guys. 14 years of mediocrity. They continue to lose. I didn't even need to come on today. You guys already know it. Tottenham continue to banter their own clubs. They had the audacity to laugh at us when we got out the FA Cup. Were you going to win it? Stop it. And also, the only trophy you guys have this whole season is that you beat Man City. And hold on to that.
Thanks for coming in, Gal. Can I quickly ask when your 5th round game is this week? When's your 5th round game?
So did you win?
Oh, hold on. So you didn't have a 5th round game because you went out in the 3rd round. Thank you for that.
Come with something stronger, my friend.
Alan, didn't Arsenal's trophy come when they had a good 45 minutes against Man City? Was that? I thought that was their trophy.
No, but you this is so
Ryan,
weak for you guys.
Ryan, you're wrong. It's when they celebrated a 2-1 defeat to Man City. That was their trophy this season. Good for them.
Guys, are any of these jokes funny? Come on, some more.
Tom seems to find them funny.
It's just Gal was having a go.
When you had one player with COVID, you called off the game against Spurs. Running.
You're trying to banter the club for going out in the 5th round,
and you went out in the 3rd round.
You know what? You guys shouldn't be speaking right now. You want to know why? You should be hating on your club for signing guys like friggin' what's his name? What's his name again? Emerson Royal?
What have you been listening to?
Thankful. I am so thankful we have Tom Yasu and you guys signed Royal because he is shocking as a player.
Welcome to the show. We've been criticising our own players for the first 15, 20 minutes. I don't know where you've been.
Okay, so keep the same
coming from your fan base that have the best youth players in the league.
Did I say
have the best this and the best signings in the league?
Okay,
we criticise our players.
Let's get back to football. It is shocking that a team like Middlesbrough can actually dominate your midfield at certain points of the game. And on top of that, Emerson Royal, shocking player, we already know. But how you guys cannot beat a team like Middlesbrough makes no sense. Manchester United,
Forest.
Yeah, how Man United couldn't beat them is another thing. How you couldn't beat Nottingham Forest, there we go. It's a tip for tat, Gal. You need to come on. If you're going to come on and troll, you need to a bit better than what you've just done here. It's a bit embarrassing.
You're trying to use my words against me. How about this, bro?
I'm not using anything against you.
How about this? It's been 14 years. It's been 14 years of irrelevance, and it's going to continue to be more irrelevance for your club. And that's the realest truth you guys can have. 14 years without a trophy. How are you guys even a big club? 14 years.
It's true. How are we even a big club? You came 8th twice in a row the last 2 seasons.
No, guess what? This club that went 8th twice, still in the last 3 years, has more trophies than you guys have had in 14.
And this is true. But Gal, when people criticising Arsenal for coming 8th twice in a row, you were like, oh no, we're rebuilding, don't come to us and all that. Our club's in a complete state of disarray.
But your golden period, you didn't win anything.
Gal, no, why are you going back to that when I'm trying to talk about now? We're in a complete state of disarray. And it's only 6 points difference. For most parts, when you were 8th and all that, you were miles behind us. So just slow your roll. You're coming here with your chest out and everything. Things are looking good. I predict Arsenal will start dropping points with a young team when it gets to the crucial point at the end of the season. Not for Spurs. I think Man United can still catch you because I'm man enough to admit that I believe we're not going to. Terry, I'm man enough to admit that we're not going to get top 4 now. I can say when I'm wrong. I don't come in here with a narcissistic attitude and say, "Oh, I'm never wrong," and everything because I am. But I believe your young team mentally will lose it towards the end of the season, and Man United, it will be close to New Man United. And if you do end up dropping it and all that, you're not going to come on here with your chest out. You'll go disappearing like you normally do.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Results go against you.
Let me tell you something. At the beginning of the season, you guys didn't trust Nuno, but once Conte came in, you guys said you have a better manager. You guys said you have a world-class manager, which is true. He was a world-class manager, but he's coming to Tottenham, and I've told you guys numerous occasions that your players are still not good enough to get you guys where you want to be. And guess what? You guys pushed back on that. A lot of Spurs fans pushed back on that at the time.
I didn't.
Because you guys said the
players. Your breath in me.
You guys did put a lot of Spurs fans at the time push back on that. Even yourself, you said that, but now you admit. Now you admit that Conte, if he was to get you guys top 4, would be pulling out a miracle. And I remember on Terry's show, Terry, you probably remember this. I said this would be a miracle. He'd be turning water into wine. And you looked at me like, what? He'd be basically doing.
Yeah, look, I'll say one thing I say Gal is absolutely spot on about it. Again, is towards me and any Spurs fan that I look at it this way, 2 things. I thought Spurs would get top 4. I did say if Man United don't sack Ollie. Spurs though started so well in those first 6, 7, 8 games in the league. 9 games look really good, but this is what I didn't expect to happen. Even with Antonio Conte, I didn't expect the games that you needed to win or the games that you were expected to win for you still to collapse in this way. That's one thing that Gal was absolutely spot on about. There's no doubt. And I thought Antonio Conte would just give you that extra bit. And like the Burnley game's a great example. It's beyond winnable for Tottenham. You didn't do it tonight. As much as Arsenal went out to Nottingham Forest and so did Manchester United, it's mad, really, because you normally get one championship team knock out a big boy every year, maybe every 2 years. To have like 3 in 3 rounds is absolutely ridiculous from our standpoint. All of us are in the mud in relation to that. There's no doubt about it whatsoever.
Anyways, peace out, guys.
Before you go, Igal, you kind of said you Spurs fans is a generic. I hate it when football fans do
but
that.
you even admitted
Hold on.
You even admitted it.
I let you finish. Let me finish. I hate the kind of generic, just a blanket statement and all that. I have said all season long, because I say it on the show that we do on a Friday night on the Grand the First XI. I say every single time we've got the weakest midfield, trash midfield. I'd get 8 or 9 players out of the team. I have never once come on and said that we have got the best team, the best this and ever. It just doesn't come out of my mouth. We've got some great players, some great individual players. But I can come on and criticise. I've criticised Son for the last 5-6 weeks because he just hasn't been performing. 1 goal against Leeds isn't going to make me think he's back because he's not been performing. I criticise my players more than most. So when you use a blanket statement about Spurs fans, I'm sorry, it doesn't work with me because it's not me. Good try.
Okay,
But next.
uncomfortable conversation. You earlier just admitted that you thought you were going to get top 4, but now you've backtracked. So that you are part of the group. Let's be honest.
No, Igal, when you say about top 4, you can say you get top 4 because of the manager and the reinforcements and the squad as a whole. That's not saying that we've got the best players, or I don't criticise our players.
Did I not tell you?
Again, you're falling into the thing where you're going for a
I only
blanket
got 2 more
statement.
minutes. I gotta go. Let me just say this. Did I
Make
not
some
tell
sense
you?
before you go then? Because
No. Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you when you signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, with the players you got out, you're basically still the same team. You haven't really improved dramatically.
Okay, did we not improve dramatically when Conte first came in? Stuff's gone on behind the scenes.
No. I'm not talking about that.
Hold on, but that's what I'm talking about. So, like, obviously, we've got the players in all that. It looks like whatever's going on behind the scenes or whatever's going on with Conte and stuff like that, that's drama. Whether that's affecting the players, I don't know, but it's not a really good excuse if it is affecting the players. They just need to get on with it. But I have not once said, with getting new signings in to, bolster the squad, or before we got injuries, even if we've got bolster squad, with the manager we've got and all that, with the results that had gone beforehand, based on that evidence, Igal, I made a prediction and it hasn't come right. When I make a prediction, it's based on the future, what hasn't happened and what's going on beforehand. It hasn't happened. I've openly come out and admitted that I got my prediction wrong. You can have that happen in football, but people that come on here and never go, I got this wrong, I got that wrong, people that go, no, I'm right, no matter what, even when people are laughing at people on here for continuing when they're completely wrong, it's a little embarrassing.
You want to know something?
Plus the rebuild that we need to do was never going to happen at Christmas.
I'm gonna end on this. I've been shooting 100% from the free throw line as of late. I've been getting a lot of things right. So have a good day, guys.
Okay. And notice how you had to go before anyone could say go back. Come on, Gal. You're better than that, Gal. Running.
Listen, Igal's great. Of course, he's always going to get things right because he says a lot of things. When you predict, it's one of them ones. What is it like? And he was right that Spurs. He said Spurs would still collapse and fall apart at the most pivotal moment, and he kind of got that right. It's good. It's fine. It's interesting. It's like, listen, Igal is what Igal is. He'd be right about certain things. Comment here says, Terry, this is set up for the Arsenal collapse by Igal is monumental if they foul. There must be a consequence from you. An Igal episode on the terrace. I mean, look, isn't it nice? It's confident. Like, he'll have to hold that if he's wrong about that. Like, it is what it is. This guy has developed into a less coherent Zayn. Talking about Igal. Missed out on Tomiyasu, Diaz, and Traore. That's the difference between making the Champions League and not. And I think you could be right there.
I think that's a big thing with Conte as well. I think he's become very disillusioned very quickly by the club. Especially, I reckon he was promised a lot, especially in this January transfer window. To get him to sign, because he didn't want it in the summer, to get him to sign, they must have promised him something big. And this January, you got some decent players. Bentancur's all right, Kulusevski's decent, but it's not the standard. I think he was expecting more. And I think he's already a bit disillusioned by the board and Daniel Levy and that already. And Conte doesn't want to stick around and stick with it.
One thing I would say about Conte, though, as a manager, and it is probably his biggest weakness, he has won one of 24 cup competitions that he's entered as a manager. Yeah. He is not a good cup manager. Yeah. That's why, I think you go back to what I said. I didn't expect a trophy. I did, if he was still in the Conference League, maybe, but I did expect better consistency in the league. But who knows? There is a comment here from Antonio Conte from tonight where he says, we have to give our best for the rest of the season. Then we will see what our position and evaluate our season. It's too early to say anything about this. Again, I'm reading it as opposed to listening to it, but everything he's kind of saying at the minute, let me just zoom in a little bit closer in case people can't read it. Everything he's kind of saying at the moment is so ominous and kind of worrying in terms of walking away. Let's add some more callers in now. First up, Aaron's here with us, long-time viewer of the Terrace. What you saying, mate? Doncaster Rovers. Donny James is here. What you saying?
Terry, great to be back. First of all, Tottenham, sorry, irrelevant. Secondly, sorry, I had to put that in there. Sorry, shout out, gal. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a complete shock. Tottenham have been performing poor the last few games. I've seen Middlesbrough in the Championship. Yes, it's a different league, I get that. But Middlesbrough have been playing some really good football, and they're around the playoffs for a reason to try and get back into the Premier League. Chris Wilder's turned that side around. The football they've been playing has been exceptional to watch as a neutral. So, no disrespect to Tottenham, but it wasn't a shock tonight because I think Middlesbrough have been the better formed team going into the cup match. And no matter what the leagues are, the cup match, anything's possible. So for me, it wasn't a shock tonight. I knew Middlesbrough was going to do it. Second half especially turned it completely around. I think that Johnny Howson, as someone said earlier, I think he had a man of the match performance. I think Joe Lumley, our former goalkeeper from just a season ago, was amazing. Again, save after save after save. There's a reason why we use him as an emergency loan keeper. He's brilliant. I think that just the thing with Spurs for me, and I think this is the main thing I sort of looked at with Spurs, is when they were about to bring on Dane Scarlett, I said straight away.
That comment's finished.
I said straight away when Scarlett was about to come on, I said what I would do if I was Conte is I would take off a defender and put Scarlett on rather than take Kane off. He did that, but there was just still no impact. Yes, it's a teenager, but I just feel like Conte's tactics in that game were quite poor, and it didn't really create an impact. Like you said, the midfield for me is one of the weakest midfield Spurs has ever had, for at least a long time. I think one of the weakest midfields I've seen in at least a decade for Spurs. Maybe even 2 decades.
Arguably, it's our third choice midfield. That's why.
I think in the best Spurs team of all time, you'd never see that even close to the 5th choice team. That midfield. That's the harsh reality. Again, like you said, Terry, why is Harry Winks still at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? He offers nothing. Højbjerg, I get why Spurs got him in the first place. He looked a decent talent at Southampton. Like Van Dijk was at Southampton before Liverpool snapped him up. Let's go and get him and try and make him even more great in arguably a bigger club. For me, Højbjerg hasn't stepped up to the plate. If I was Spurs, I would say give Højbjerg back to a Southampton or that kind of club to let him build his career back up again. But overall, for me, like I said, I'll go back to my original point. It wasn't a shock tonight. And the Man City fan who said that Luton will beat Chelsea, I'm not even ruling that out either because Nathan Jones has done fantastic. Luton are in the playoffs for a reason. Chelsea have been on a bit of ropey form at times. I'm not ruling it out.
I think if you look at what Antonio Conte has also said tonight, and he's absolutely spot on when reviewing these games, he says these types of games in these trophies away from home, you have to kill the game quickly. Your opponent has to understand that the night will be difficult. Instead, we can do much better. And in the end, Middlesbrough deserve to go through. And that's
Absolutely.
right. You need to, and I said, this is going to sound elitist, but you need to let championship teams know who's boss. As soon as and Man United, when we played Borough, we created so many chances to kill the game. We didn't. And you leave the door open. And as the game went on, Borough got better because they had more and more belief. I feel like if Borough took the lead after 10 minutes, you come back and beat them.
Yeah. This is why I'm really excited for Boreham Wood Everton, because I know if Everton don't take their chances, I know Boreham Wood will score them.
Everton in a mad space. Donny James, legend for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it.
It's great to be back, mate. It's honestly great to be back.
Cheers, mate. You take care. We'll speak again soon. Thank you. Sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say is it Aaron, Donny James? Basically, when we saw the team news, I didn't see a shock because I was like, he's taking it seriously. If we had gone with a weakened team, I would have gone, I could see a shock written all over it. That's why it's more embarrassing, because it was a full-strength team and we played like that. The performance was shocking from start to finish. So that's why it hurts even more. It's even more painful.
Can I ask you though? Can I ask you something though? Would you not have started off with Reguilon rather than Sessegnon? I also don't know what the hell Sessegnon's doing in there, because every time he plays, apart from the Leeds game,
he's gone.
He weren't too bad.
He's left.
He's a bit like, you know, like we sent Gil to Spain, and he's like he's because physically he hasn't been able to adapt to the Premier League, and I feel the same way about Sessegnon. He never, like, in any of the games that he's played, apart from the Leeds game, I've never been impressed with him. And I think Reguilon is obviously, he can make mistakes as well, but I find him to be, he's like, at least he's got good pace. And I think sometimes he links the game up, the play up from the left a lot more better. And I think he plays better with Son as well. I think he does better with Son. You know, they do.
I think it's just like Ryan said. I think he's preparing for next season without him, to be fair. It just looks like he's not going to be there next season. Whether it's because of Real Madrid coming back or whether Conte doesn't see him as his player, I don't know.
Linked. He's like, since Madrid were linked, he's not played. He's more than happy to go back to Madrid. That's why Sessegnon's starting now. We ain't got the options because this fucking shit ass board don't know how to buy players. So we're stuck with these two unless he brings Harvey White in and the youth player. And the way it seems at the minute, Conte don't like to play youth. He's not interested in a project. He wants to win something now. He don't want to bring Scarlett or Alfie Devine or Harvey White in. He wants to win something now.
And that's not Conte's way. And we spoke about this. We'll go to this comment here in a second, but we spoke about this the other day when about Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte has done his apprenticeship. He's earned his stripes. He's at the elite. He feels he's at the elite end of the spectrum where he doesn't, and he's got the right, because of what he's achieved, to say, I don't want to go to a club that has to be shoestring, where I have to play. You know, Liverpool do a little bit of that, even, you know, but it's like, if Jurgen Klopp said in a couple of years, I just want my next club I go to, I want to go to a club that is the biggest in that country or the most powerful in that country and manage it, I wouldn't blame him, because it's not easier per se. There's pressure that comes with it and you've got to deliver. But Conte just doesn't look happy. This comment here says Mourinho achieved more, top of the league for 3 months in a cup final with a far worse team, but was attacked by you all and the media. Now all I hear is Conte and the players clowns. Where was this energy for Mourinho? Recency bias.
So when Mourinho was in charge, I came in, like when he first came in, and Terry, you'll completely back me up on this. I wanted Mourinho. I said, proven winner, this ain't the other. That's fine. And he was doing good. And then it started going south. So the person who's put this chat in, the players that he had were far worse. We've now currently got Højbjerg and Winks as our midfield. Emerson Royale as a right wing back. You've got Sessegnon, who's now young, who's come into the team. You've got Kulusevski and Bentancur, who are new players. Moore has now dropped to the bench, and you've got Son and Kane, who was there beforehand, and Lloris. The backup goalkeeper's Galini compared to Gazzaniga. Devon Sanchez still there, Dyer still there. How is it a far worse team? It's actually pretty much just as bad now as it was back then. So it's just obviously a Mourinho fan who doesn't like the fact that Mourinho doesn't give much more love.
The Mourinho thing, I think we need to remember one thing. It wasn't about him being a worse manager than X, Y, Z. It was him. Yeah. Mourinho has just become toxic, and there was no way forward for him, in my view. Plus, I did read, again, money-wise, wasn't there like a big bonus due to Jose if he won the League Cup?
Or if he won the League Cup, and also he was at that point out the top 6, I think, in the league. So it means he got paid less if he got fired, and because they saw that he was 7th as well, I think that's why they got rid of him, where it was to save money, because that's all Daniel Levy believes.
You know what, though? That is just typical of Tottenham, because Mourinho would have had a better chance in that final. I know a lot of the players were not behind him, and I've seen, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, it was all like the fringe players, the key ones like Son and Kane and Højbjerg, because he was actually quite decent last year, was still behind him and still backing him. But it was the fringe players that weren't getting played enough. The fact that you sacked him the week before the biggest game of your season for money reasons, it's just all these. And I'm not having a go because you just already know it. You're smart enough to know it. Like, it's just, it's like Levy thinks you've got a God-given right to be good when you don't. He just doesn't understand that. And while he doesn't understand that, you aren't going to progress to where you should be, where you should have got to.
Yeah. Speaking of a penny for someone's thoughts, this tweet has been put out. A penny for Harry Kane's thoughts as he walks through the media room back to the coach. Complaints will be with a low par performance, but another season with no trophy. What do you think, as Spurs fans, is going through Harry Kane's mind right now? How do you think he's feeling about his future at Tottenham, his future in his, in his career in general?
Oh, he should have been at Man City by now. Yeah. That's what he's thinking. He should have been at Manchester City right now, beating Peterborough at Peterborough, sitting top of the league, going into a second leg against Sporting Lisbon, 5-0 up. That's where we're not. He's not going to win out at Tottenham. Unfortunately, he's not. I mean, like everyone's spoken about the Mourinho and Conte hirings from Levy. He's hiring two managers who work with money. Basically, I know Conte's not had much money at Chelsea, and his money coming in and going out. It's not that much different, but they like to spend money. They might like to make their own squads. They like to have their own players. Daniel Levy doesn't do that. It's Daniel Levy's way or no way at Tottenham Hotspur. You either agree with him or you're out the door. And Harry Kane's just unfortunate that he's at a club with Daniel Levy as a chairman, because unless you give him the exact money he wants through pound and pennies, he's not going anywhere. Now Haaland's available for what, 70 million in the summer. He's not going to go anywhere in the summer again. He's stuck with this club until he retires.
So for me, like I said, Harry Kane should have gone in the summer, should have gone to Man City. We should have got the money that we were looking for. Whether that was Daniel Levy or Man City not putting in the offer that we wanted. Apparently, there have been reports that they did offer the 150 million. Daniel Levy still said no. But for me, Harry Kane has himself to blame as well. I mean, he let his agent, his brother, sign a 6-year contract with no release clause and all that. So when you do stupid things like that, you've only got yourself to blame, because Daniel Levy will just keep to that. So, he's not going to win a trophy with us. He should have gone last season. I don't think he'll go this season. I don't think anyone will. Well, people will still come in for him, but I don't know. Daniel Levy will probably still hold on to, want 150 million for him, when, because of the performances and the things that have happened this season, he's not worth 100 at the moment. Let's be honest. But, poor performances, no goals and everything like that. He's not worth that. But then I'll agree, there's no service to him, because we've got no midfield. We've got no one that can pick out a pass. So,
I mean, even Mora's been injured the last 2 games, tonight and the last game. I think he's got a dead leg or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but even before that, I mean, before the winter break, he was one of our better players this season. Come back from winter break and he was absolutely awful. But the thing that I don't like about Tottenham is that he can be dropped, but people like Son's been awful for weeks, absolute weeks. He's got 1 goal and these performances have been shocking, and yet he just remains on that pitch the entire time. Unfortunately, Kane, we can't drop him for anyone else because we've got no one else, because we've shot ourselves in the foot and not brought in a backup striker. So you're going to always have that. But people like that, names need to be dropped when they're not performing, and we're just a club that don't do that, ever.
I mean, when was the last time you had a decent backup striker? Was it Llorente in 18-19? Even if you class him as one, like even the drop off them still start. Like
backup striker was Harry Kane to Soldado and Adebayor.
Pretty much, yeah.
My God,
shocking.
It's just an absolute awful. Just so painful.
Do you think though the summer's going to be key? Because I'm still finding it a bit interesting, because I think someone of Conte, he wouldn't have come in, because I honestly never expected anything big to be done in January, because January is really difficult to get, especially the sort of players that is going to improve your team. They just end up costing a load of money. So I always thought, and a lot of the stuff that Conte was saying around Christmas was that it's difficult to get. We'll see what we can do, but it's difficult to get players in January. So I think I still have a small hope that they promised him that they're going to go big for him in the summer. But obviously, especially with what happened with Harry Kane last summer, Levy obviously has a bit of a bad reputation for promising
Well,
things.
well, this is where I'd be. This is where would be worried as a Spurs fan. Your club sold the narrative via your tier ones that you were looking at Vlahovic in the summer and you were looking at Lautaro Martinez, and the idea was it was never a replacement for Kane. It was going to play alongside him. As soon as it was pretty much unanimous that Kane wasn't going to leave, there was no more links to other strikers because Kane was staying, and I think that would be the worry. You know, your manager was promised a big January, and that didn't happen. There is always a kind of excuse that comes along. Harry Kane, for me, when I look at that picture and other things, he knows he needs to leave. I think he knows in his heart of hearts that he's never going to win those trophies. And I listened to Peter Crouch speak about him on the weekend, and Peter Crouch said, look, maybe he wants to stay and become the all-time leading goal scorer in the Premier League here and get a statue at Tottenham. And if he wins one trophy with Tottenham, that might mean more to him than going elsewhere. And he painted this picture and it made sense. He said, if he goes City and scores 80, 90 goals between now and when he leaves City and wins 2 Prems and a Champions League, he said, how long will he be remembered at Manchester City for? Equally, when he comes back to Tottenham, he might be booed and not looked at in a favourable light. And he kind of said that there's a lot of people that don't feel connected to, a lot of pros don't feel connected to any football club when they leave because they've been at so many. I think it just comes down to what Harry Kane wants in his heart. If what's more important to him is goal scoring records, legacy, not just of winning trophies, but being loved and adored by a club where a statue might be put up of. But I'm like, are you even going to get a statue at Tottenham without winning trophies? I don't even know if you are, right? So you need to kind of do it. But at the same time, I think it depends what club he goes to and what he helps them win, because if he'd have gone to, if he goes Man United and he is part of something that leads to Man United winning a major trophy again, because of 10 years with nothing, he'll be remembered. Look how much love Man United fans have for Van Persie. He basically had one good season. Like he's 2 seasons after that, the title winning year were good, but that one season will probably make us love him forever. It really depends where he goes. If he goes Man City and for 3 seasons running scores 40 goals in all comps each year, wins them the Prem back to back, wins them a Champions League, of course they're going to remember it. Of course they are. Like, why would they not? I don't know. Like if he goes top Chelsea, wins them their 3rd Champions League, wins them their 1st title in however long. Chelsea fans are probably a bit like Arsenal fans. The way that Arsenal fans love Sol Campbell, they love him because he was a great defender, but they also love Sol Campbell a little bit more because he screwed Spurs over, right? If Harry Kane left Spurs to Chelsea, I'm not saying that will happen, and helped him win 3 or 4 major trophies in a 4 or 5 year period. Dare I say this? I think they would maybe not love him as much as Drogba, but I think he'd be there or thereabouts, mainly to wind you lot up. So look, I don't know. I think he's got to get, I've said it for years, he's got to get himself out. For me, I would be so disappointed if he retired and he scored more goals than any other Premier League striker ever, but he doesn't have a single winner's medal. For me, that would just be a waste of a career, really.
Yeah. So for me, he needs to go as well, because it's getting quite obvious now that Tottenham Hotspur are just Harry Kane. And I'm sorry, no player's bigger than your club ever. It's as simple as that. You can have idols in the club, and we're just getting into that mentality where we're like, we can't be anything without Harry Kane. And we're doing, it's just that we're putting ourselves into a corner when he does leave. Are we going to be able to replace a player like that? And then you'll need to replace 5 or 6 players to be able to accommodate for one player because of what he's done for this club and how, he's been put on a pedestal.
I completely agree. We're going to take another caller here. Mohammed's here with us, one of our legends and super fans of the channel. What are you saying, mate?
How's it going? Tottenham. Not really a surprise, to be honest. Tottenham lost that game the way it was going. Especially when it went to extra time, I did have a feeling Middlesbrough would get a goal sometime in the second half, in the extra time, sorry. Because it is the history of the Tottenham after all.
It was. It was coming as well. In that last 5-6 minutes of that first half of extra time, I couldn't believe they didn't score. And it's interesting, their goal, it was the first time when they were in a goal-scoring position, someone just levered it. And that's what annoyed me. Like, all their other chances is, why aren't you putting your laces through that ball? And then he did. As soon as he hit it, it was in as well. And I didn't see you guys coming back from that point. It was almost... You were a little bit deflated throughout the game. Even watching Antonio Conte at large parts of the game, he was just sort of standing there. He wasn't very animated. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there is this part of him that thinks we just need to focus on the league. I don't know what's going through his head, but
I won't be surprised if he walks in the summer. Like, even if they try and back him in the summer, I think he'll just leave. If I'm being honest.
Could happen.
Yeah, he will. He's not getting backed for the players he wants. We're not making Champions League. Conte needs Champions League type players to improve his squad. We are not signing Champions League players to play in the Conference League for a second year. It's not going to happen. Conte, he will be gone before the start of next season, 100%. And Conte, exactly the same as Kane. They're dealing with the devil in Tottenham fans' eyes. They are dealing with the devil, and he's never going to give them what they want. That's why Harry Kane will never leave, because he will never accept a price.
Do you know what's mad about this? Like, the amount of times I speak about my club and people are like, no, Terry, it's just about getting a DM, or it's just about getting a good coach. And I'm like, I don't understand how people can't see when your club is run. It's not even about being run. I don't think Spurs are a poorly run club. I actually think that you're just slightly different. Nor Man United, to a degree. So maybe I'm hypocrisizing myself here a little bit. They lie to us. They pretend they're running it and operate. Man United are, because we spend the money. So I'm a liar. Man United don't fit this mold. I'm just thinking it through. I'm sort of thinking out loud. Spurs aren't badly run. They just pretend that they're trying to make you win the league. They're not trying to win the league. They're not even getting the Champions League is like an added bonus. They're not really attempting to try and do it. Does that make sense? It's almost like they're dragging you along. Man United do all those things, but then we go out and spend like we're trying to win the Premier League. That's why we're badly run, because if we spent that money correctly out of structure, we should be able to win, right? City have spent that amount of money. We've spent more than City. I think the same as Chelsea in the last 9 years. With Tottenham, it's sort of like you act like you're doing that. You act like you're trying to get there, but the actions don't suit the words that are in the press releases, which is why I don't understand why your fans believe things that a lot of your tier ones say. Well, I'm like, your tier ones are being fed by the very people you call the devil. Weird. Yeah. So strange to me.
I mean, another thing, remember in the summer when Daniel Levy released that statements to the fans going, I want to bring back a manager that, would be here for years and rebuild. And then he goes and gets someone who's a born winner who only works really with squads that are near the top and challenging already. And then Nuno was never going to be that project manager anyway. He doesn't know how to run that football club. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Daniel Levy only got Conte in because after that Man United game and he was actually getting booed and fans were chanting, we want Levy out, as when he reacted and got Conte in. It's to save his own skin, to appease fans. And obviously it was good while it lasted, but I said Conte could get level at his players. He did for some time, but it's still quite clear that even he can't perform miracles like that. So yeah. It is what it is, but
Daniel
that's the only reason Conte's in.
He struck gold with Poch, and he's been trying to do it since and just can't recreate it.
Well, he's gone for people that he thought could do it, and they all said no in the summer. 13 managers said no, and that's not a dig at Tottenham. It's just
a dig at him.
It's a fact. It's a fact. They said no because
the way it's run is difficult to work with.
Graham Potter didn't want to leave Brighton. Do you know why? Brighton are a better run club. Even Brendan Rodgers has had a bad year. I think one of the reasons that Brendan Rodgers has had a bad year is because he has flirted with so many clubs. There was the whole Man City shortlist thing. There was the Newcastle chat. There was the Man United chat. And I feel like internally he was really putting himself, internally within football, was putting himself in the shop window. I think that's played a part in his downfall. But he twice in the summer outright said no to Tottenham. And again, that's not a dig. That's because people are like, why would I want to go and work for a club that isn't just... If you're going to pay us what Man United pay us in salary, then maybe, give me that £15 million a year. Maybe we'll come do it. But for what they were willing to pay, no doubt. Listen, gents, really appreciate you all coming on. Everyone who's super chatted, I absolutely love you. All of our new subscribers, thank you. Please hit that like button before you leave. We're back tomorrow with more content. Jess and I in the afternoon with Straight Facts and reacting to probably both, but we'll always go with the biggest result. The way they're doing these games a minute, we'll react to the biggest result. But obviously Chelsea and Liverpool both play tomorrow night. We'll both probably win as well. But we'll be back covering those games for you. The 12th man is back this week as well. Got a City fan and a Man United fan going head to head. So that'll be out later on this week, so keep your eyes peeled. But until next time, my people, take care. Goodbye. God bless.